In the past 16 months, not only has the issue of affordability for Americans, which seemingly put Trump into the White House, has not been resolved, but many of the policies pushed by the Trump administration and accepted by the MAGA Congress have worsened. Additionally, many of the cuts from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act passed in the summer of 2025 are slated to go into effect only after the 2026 elections are completed. These cuts are likely to further drive prices up for Americans. What will you do to restore affordability across many sectors, including housing, healthcare, transportation, food, and consumer goods, as possible?
Sure. 60 seconds is a very brief time to cover that, but let me just say that, first of all, we got to roll back what Donald Trump is doing to raise prices for people, right? The unconstitutional war that's driving up our gas prices, $6 plus per gallon that I see. Basically, the tariffs that have driven up the cost of food, actually, and fertilizer and housing. Also in terms of healthcare as well. And by the way, I should mention, affordability was not a problem that just showed up under this administration right now, right? It's an ongoing problem. That's why I'm proud to be endorsed by labor unions, right? And I'm the labor candidate. I have the Labor Federation, many of the labor unions supporting me because they know I'm the person who's going to fight for working families. I'm the person who understands that while our economy has grown and you constantly hear in the news, oh, look how great our economy is, that a smaller share of that's going to working families. Right? We need to be sure that actually more workers can be represented by unions and have collective bargaining so that we can, I voted to increase the minimum wage, right? And then we need to be sure we fight to be sure that we keep those costs under control. That's why I serve on the Healthcare Affordability Board, to be sure that we put a cap on the amount of money that healthcare is costing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pan. What would you do to restore affordability across as many sectors as possible?
So I think with affordability, it's one of those yes and questions. We have to try an all of the above solution. Everything is expensive in our state. Housing is expensive, gas is expensive, electrical bills are expensive, unless you're lucky enough to be on SMUD or Roseville Electric, in which case they're less bad. But in many, many cases, affordability is going to require the federal government to be inventive and to move in multiple directions. This is one of the fastest growing areas in the state of California because it's one of the last places people can afford to buy a house. Building houses that every generation can afford has been the engine of our middle class prosperity. We are going to have to bring back federal dollars, federal loan guarantee programs, and preferential mortgage programs for our nurses, firefighters, teachers, first responders to ensure they can live in the communities they serve. Yes, we are going to have to stop the war in Iran. I hope to talk about that a little bit later. Yes, we are going to have to wind back the tariffs. Yes, we are going to have to wind back the big beautiful bill, but we are going to have to do even more than that to guarantee an affordable future long into coming decades.
Mayor Guerrero, what would you do to restore affordability across as many sectors as possible?
Thank you. With 60 seconds, I'll get to the point. What we have to accomplish is repeal H.R. 1, get healthcare back and restore all the healthcare in through Medi-Cal and CalFresh. What we are seeing is a deeper cut in CalFresh, restore that, because putting groceries, food where groceries are being spent on the table of those who can't afford it will help all of us. In order for us to be able to afford housing, we need to have additional rental subsidies. Those living on the edge need that additional support. We have to when we repeal that, we will have the funding. When we end the war, we will have the funding. When we repeal the tariffs, we will have the funding to accomplish all of that. These are the policies that this Congress should have taken already, but haven't. And when we have the House back, we will accomplish that. In addition to that, taking care of child care education, making sure our public schools are well-funded, and Medicare for all, if I haven't mentioned that, we have to have that. And we also need to stabilize Social Security in increasing the cap of those that are paying in. So those are the actions I would take.
Thank you very much. District Attorney Ho, what would you do to restore affordability across as many sectors as possible?
You know, I remember coming to this country and my mom would tuck me in at night and then go work the graveyard shift at the local cannery, come home in the morning smelling like the peaches that she canned all night, and take me to school. Families are still struggling today because of the policies of Donald Trump. And I won't call it the HR. I won't call it the HR 1 bill. I won't call it the big, beautiful bill. No, it's the big, bad, ugly bill. That's exactly what it is. And Kevin Kiley voted for it. And what we need to do in Congress is to extend the ACA subsidies, to extend tax relief, especially for our young people. So one of the things I would love to do is to make permanent the cost of living tax cuts for single individuals with no dependents up to the cost of living. We need to help our young people. We need to end and fight back against the tariffs because they are a tax on our working families. We have to do everything we can on workforce housing development so our teachers, our first responders can address and to live where they work. That's what we need to do on that level.
Thank you very much. Ms. Babb Tomlinson, what would you do to restore affordability across as many sectors as possible?
Well, given how unaffordable my life is, this is going to be a real top priority. I'm coming in with some friends. I'm endorsed by the Congressional Black Caucus PAC as well as the Congressional Progressive Caucus PAC. So those caucuses are doing fantastic works to lower the cost of living. My number one on day one is childcare. This generation is paying more for childcare than any other generation has. And so we've got to put a limit on that to make sure that families can work and make sure their kids are okay. We also need to make sure that we have lower grocery prices, making sure that AI is not changing grocery prices in neighborhoods to make it less affordable to eat. And I agree that we really need to have Medicare for all. Some people up here don't support Medicare for all, and they won't tell you that, but look at the money they take. And we need leaders that know that healthcare is a human right and will actually show up, vote to make sure life is more affordable, and get things done. And that's what I'm about, solutions.